initiated.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Rogue Agent Radio, Episode 1, your podcast headquarters for the Division news, extractions, discussions, and agent trust issues. I'm your host, Boomslangg, and joining me is the community-focused agent who loves spreadsheets and food, DeepFriedDave Bennett. How's it going, Dave? And since this is the first episode, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am new to the Division. Just recently got into it after meeting Boomslangg. I've been with the Dads of Destiny since the very beginning, so I've been playing a little bit of Destiny for the last year.
That's that little bitty clan over there that plays Destiny, right? They only have, 40,000 members?
Yeah, 40,000. And if you ask me, it's probably 40,000 plus. Through Bungie, it's almost 40,000, but we actually have, I think, almost 20,000 registered on the website. So. Wow. You do the math, and I'm going to say it's around 50. At least that's what I'm going to put on my resume. But so I think I was around number 49, 50 when the three founders started the clan. Clan/group/community, what it's become. But ever since day one, I've been excited about the clan and connecting people to game with each other, especially mature adults, because I got to the point where I wasn't seeing a lot of that online. So really got involved in the Dads of Destiny and was part of the first admin team. I've done a lot with that, obviously, and have been an admin through that whole time. So my main focus has always been, if you read any of the articles I've written or any of the podcasts I've been on, I always talk about the same thing, and that's the thing that most people love most about the Dads of Destiny is that it's a place that you can find other people to game with. Your same mindset, your same similarities in your life and your work style, your work-life balance, and that's just hard to find. So,
right, it's people you can relate to.
You can relate to, and in that particular group, clan, the Dads of Destiny, it's dads, so you have different things to juggle. You're coming in and out for 20 minutes. But I've told many people, it doesn't have to be about dads. It's just the dads that are there, they feel like it's their home. Right. They're home, they're comfortable. And that's what I enjoy most about it is finding a place or providing a place that members feel comfortable, helping them connect with other members that do find this place they call home. But I want to, extend that out and say I want that for everybody. Everybody
right.
should find that clan or group that they're most comfortable with to game with, and that's what makes it the most fun.
Yeah,
and I know that from a personal experience, just because I'm a little older gamer, and I was pretty surprised to find that there were other gamers that are dads and play a little bit of time in their early to mid to late 30s, and you can kind of pick where I'm at in there. But yeah. So I've just been passionate about those aspects.
Yeah.
And with the Dads of Destiny, creating a community, keeping members engaged and providing for them in the community and just helping people connect. So that's kind of my full background on hopefully what I'm going to contribute to the show and to the Division community, which I'm really excited about. And I don't have
so it's safe to say you're the community
Division
expert, basically.
Knowledge. Yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, hopefully I've explained, kind of giving you my credentials a little bit, and that's kind of the goal I think for today, for everyone to understand why we're here and
exactly.
why we know this is a great team and it's gonna produce a great podcast that you're gonna enjoy.
People need to be excited about this.
Right.
It's gonna be something cool.
It is, and with that's when I discovered Boomslangg here. I don't want to say I discovered him because he was long out there before any of us knew.
I was out there lollygagging and he pulled me in.
Yeah. Well, it's unique is once the Division is just kind of it was buzzword around gaming and everybody's focused in on different things, right? Well, then E3, pops up and you start to learn a little bit more, the outsiders. Mm-hmm. There's definitely a community base that you're in that's pretty tight-knit, and everybody's been following it for a long time, and there's just a lot of information there. I've been trying to soak it all up, but a group like Dads of Destiny, it's like, well, we want to keep members, we want to keep them engaged. I said, we need to find more games to get hyped on, to get excited about that we're going to stay together and be a group, and this is what all the groups should have. So that's when I found out, you're passionate about the division, loved what you were doing, and we kind of said, hey, this is a great fit for us. And then that's when I got really involved in learning about the division and the community and what everyone in it is currently doing. That hopefully we can expand on that and bring a lot more people into it and just show them what we can do and what kind of community it's going to become.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be the next big community game for gamers and things like how Destiny has been. So we'll just hopefully we'll see what comes from the community from this and what we can get going. But to round out our little squad is our local gun expert and trusty tactician, Justin Knight, also known as BlessedDoom. How's it going, Doom? And like Dave, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I would say I'm fairly new to the online community gaming. Destiny was the first online co-op or I guess group game. I've been a solo gamer, for my whole life.
Right.
And whenever I've been playing Destiny since the alpha, and I didn't have anybody to play with, and I was about to stop, and then I started looking for some videos on how to solo, and I found Mesa Sean's videos, and he kind of turned me on to this clan called Resolute.
Never heard of him.
Oh, yeah. And I ended up joining, and that's how I kind of got into to online gaming.
Yeah.
And then I started seeing some of your videos about the division, and realized that it kind of looks like the game I've always been waiting for. I've always been hoping for.
Right.
And so I really want to get involved with that one from the beginning, and it'll be nice going into it, having friends and a group to play with right when it launches.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the thing about it. Games nowadays are kind of evolving into this community-focused place where you can go and hang out with your friends and stuff and experiencing it together. It's more than just, I'm going to hop on a game, whatever, kill a guy, and then be done with it. It is more about the community. Yep. And I think, like Dave with Dads of Destiny and us with Team Resolute, and it's funny when we've all come from Destiny and now we're all excited about the division. I think that speaks of what the division's going to be about. It is about the community, and that's the most exciting thing about this.
Yeah.
So with our first segment that we have planned for this show, we want to talk a little bit about the games that we're playing right now, just to kind of fill in some things with since the division isn't out yet, and it's going to be a little while. So we're going to talk about some games that we've been playing and how they can relate to the division and how things we like from these games that we'd like to see in them. But to start this off, we're going to talk a little bit about the games that we like to play, so you guys kind of get an idea of where we're coming from and why we might like the division so much. Because we everyone has a different kind of gaming background. So, Justin, what are you playing right now, and or what do you like to play, and then what are you playing right now, and how do you think that can be applied to the division at all?
Well, of course, Destiny's been in there quite a bit. I kind of started taking a little bit of a break from it during the content gap, but now that the new expansion's about to come out, I've been trying to get my skills back a little bit on that. Mm-hmm. But I've also been jumping into Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes to get ready for that release this next week.
I've actually been doing that too.
Yeah. And because I've been a huge Metal Gear fan for years, and I'm pretty excited about that. I do. I like first person shooters. I'm not so much into the realistic ones like Call of Duty or Battlefield or anything like that. Those I like more of the sci-fi kind of first person shooters, that type of stuff. Halo, Destiny. Borderlands. Borderlands is another one I've been into quite a bit. The Handsome Collection. Once they put it out on PS4, I've been playing quite a bit of that. I've really been trying to get into The Witcher, but it is so huge.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a gigantic world, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I spent hundreds of hours playing that game. I still haven't beaten it completely. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of those games that I took a lot from. I was like, this could definitely be applied to the Division in a lot of ways. Just like it's like how it is in a lot of RPGs. It's your crafting and your weapon degrading and things like that. And I was like, this would be cool by being put in the Division in a more modern, realistic way. So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. One of the things I'm kind of excited about with the Division is it being more realistic, even more realistic than I think a lot of the first-person shooters like a Call of Duty or a Battlefield, where I've been seeing a lot that the time to kill is a lot lower, and so you're not going to just die as Mesa Sean says from a shot in the pinky toe.
Yeah.
You're really going to have to work at it, and there's going to be a lot of tactics involved in it rather than just running around and shooting. So that's the kind of thing I'm excited about. Borderlands is that way. You can't just run around and kill everything. You really have to work at it, and that's one of the things.
I think that's how the Division's time to kill is too, because it's more RPG, so it does take several shots to kill people, and sometimes it takes the whole clip depending on where you hit them.
Right. Even with headshots too, right? Like that's not a one-hit kill. Is that right?
No. Okay. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't know if it is with sniper rifles, because I didn't really use a sniper rifle a whole lot.
Right. Yeah. One of the reasons why I got real excited about the Division is one of the games that I almost jumped back into it on PS3 because they ported it over was Siphon Filter: The Omega Strain.
Yeah.
And the Division looks like what Siphon Filter wanted to be. And it was realistic, had realistic guns and all that stuff, but it did have the thing where if you were good enough to get that headshot, that was a one-hit kill, but otherwise you really had to work at it.
Yeah. I never played Siphon Filter. So I don't really...
It's, I mean, if you really break it down, it was probably a terrible game. I got into it when I was in Iraq, and it was one of the only games that I had, and I really, if you get through the super steep learning curve for that one specifically, Siphon Filter 1, 2, and 3 were just a single player, you're playing as one character. On Omega Strain, you create your own character, you completely customize their outfit and their gear and their guns and everything. And if you could get past the really weird controls and actually get good at it, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But it had a lot of problems. But this, like I said, it wanted to be what the Division is going to be, because it was supposed to be online, but it was PS2. And that really wasn't there yet.
Yeah, online functions back then weren't that great.
Right.
Now we have it, though. Now things are going to be great.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What about you, Dave? What kind of games do you like to play, and what have you been playing?
Traditionally, and this is mainly because of lack of other people to play with. I mean, once you get out of college, I have 3 younger brothers. We did a lot of gaming when we were growing up, and it kind of morphed into just playing, Madden or baseball. But then once real life starts happening after college, and I spent a little more time at college than most people, and I'm not a doctor, but I enjoyed myself. But by the time I got out of college, I didn't have many friends or family that played a lot of games. So once again, here I am, married, work, don't have a lot of time to game, but nobody to really share it with.
Right.
So I played a lot of games that I could enjoy solo. And a lot of them were, some of my favorite series were like the Uncharted series. It's just entertaining and fun. It's just, that's all there is to it. You just get in there and have a good time. And then I really got into PvP games just because you could just jump online and you didn't have to converse with other people. In fact, some of the games were really bad about giving you options to not hear them. and actually that's why I got to the point in Destiny. I'm not going to talk about it all the time, but I got to the point where...
it's a game that we've all played, like in Destiny and stuff, so it's something that we'll always be hitting on too.
Right. No, I agree. It's going to be hard to get away from all the time, but I don't want to make too many comparisons to that in Division. But it's not going to be easy, like you just said. But, I got to the point where I was ready to just kind of give up on online gaming. I'd played all the Call of Duties and stuff, but it gets to a point where when you're playing something like that you really need to be in a clan or group. You just kind of plateau when you're playing by yourself, and it just gets frustrating. And it's hard to meet people to play with online when you're a dad. You don't have much time, So I started looking for a group clan that was, something similar to my lifestyle, that was mature adults who don't have a lot of time to play, and it was tough to find. And then that kind of spun into what I was talking about earlier. But so traditionally, I'd say last 5 years, what we'll call it pre-Destiny, it was a lot of PvP and one or two RPGs in there, but a lot of The Last of Us, those types of games, Uncharted that I played.
Action adventure.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Games, yeah, that's where I was going. So, recently I haven't played. Destiny tries to be everything, and that's what I think. That's why it's such. It's gotten where it has been, because it appeals to every single gamer there is. If you like PvP, you like the PvP portion. If you were an MMO player, there's Endgame, right? And it may not be a total MMO, but they do everything. Not 100%, and that's what I think a lot of people that
I think that's what everyone complains about.
Exactly.
You don't do any one thing perfectly, so therefore I'm going to complain about it.
Right.
But they do everything just enough to keep everyone hooked.
Exactly. So when I started playing a game like that, I love the PvP portion. I still do love the PvP portion. That's probably 60% of my time spent in it.
Yeah.
But I was new to grinding, really. I'd played some RPGs with crafting and such, but grinding for materials was new, and I've never played an MMO before. So that type of stuff was all new to me.
Right.
Now, after learning about the Division, I've just been melting my brain with the amount of information I'm trying to inhale about the Division.
What's crazy about that, though, is there's so much there's a decent amount of information, and that information, it can be kind of overwhelming. But we hardly know anything about it. It's crazy. Like there's so much. I don't know. There's a lot of speculation, and all the stuff we do know. It's like we have these pillars, basically, what this game is going to be about, and then all of those pillars could lead to 100 different things that could be added to this game, which is crazy, and which kind of leads to what the games that I like to play. I like to play first-person shooters, third-person shooters, and action games, like you're saying, Uncharted, The Last of Us, different things like that. Those have been kind of my staple games that I've always played. I started out playing the Battlefield series, and I've played every single one. Playing most recently being Hardline, which isn't my favorite, but I've spent literally thousands of hours playing Battlefield. Getting there with Destiny, I haven't played it quite as much, but played a lot of Destiny, played a lot of like I said, Uncharted, played some of Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, Advanced Warfighter 2. Played some of that one, which I haven't played a whole lot of Tom Clancy games. The only two that I really played extensively were Splinter Cell on PS2 and Graw 2 which is Ghost Recon on the PS3, and I love the heck out of both of those games. So
you would have loved. I was originally a PC player, and the first online game that I played that I got hooked on was Rainbow Six. The original,
really?
The legit, the one and only. Where I spent hundreds of dollars in college that I didn't have, and ate ramen noodles just to update my video card. I needed potatoes and ramen noodles just so I could play that game, because the video card in college, they were like $300 at the time.
Right.
So Rainbow Six games, that was my bread and butter for a while, and that's what got me hooked into online gaming. But I mean, there's been a lot of great Tom Clancy games, and there still are. Yeah. So, and obviously, there's going to be probably the best one yet.
Yeah, Tom Clancy has a good reputation too. I mean, and Ubisoft has a decent reputation too. Up until last year, all of their games have been pretty solid, and which is cool, because I was playing. This leads into the games that I've been playing. I recently have been playing Assassin's Creed 4. I went back and played it since Destiny pretty much consumed my life back in that time, and other games too. But I went back and played that, and the thing is, like, there's a similarity between almost all of the Ubisoft games, all the open world Ubisoft games, like whether it's Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs, Far Cry, things like that. They all have their open world with things to go find in them, unlockables. Whether it's like in Assassin's Creed, it's chests. In Watch Dogs, they had really cool side missions, like you go and discover like murders that you could uncover, and that led into a little side quest, which I loved Watch Dogs, regardless of what everyone says. I didn't really get super hyped up on it and I think that's why I enjoyed it so much, because I didn't have anything to really be let down on. I just jumped right into it. I was like, hey, this game's awesome.
Yep.
And what's cool about those games is, like, you know what? Since this is a Ubisoft game, and since The Division is a Ubisoft game, these similarities, I wouldn't be surprised at all if these were in The Division. It makes total sense because that's kind of their staple. And I'm sure, they all are different in how they go about it. Assassin's Creed is totally different from Watch Dogs, but you can see they're basically almost the same in some ways. So that part was like, this is really cool. This is, like, I can see in The Division, you're going to have your chests to go find. You're going to have these unlockables to go find, different, whatever it is. So that part, playing that game really got me excited for the things that we could possibly see in The Division. And like I said, with Witcher, it would be cool to see those things in it. But yeah, recently I've been playing, Assassin's Creed 4, a little bit of Destiny, finished up Shadow of Mordor. That was pretty fun. But the thing I learned, though, in the open world games is you need side quests that are interesting and that are rewarding and that are fun. Because Shadow of Mordor, the side quests in those, they weren't that interesting to me. I was like, they were just like, meh, they didn't have any meat to them, really.
Yeah, that's kind of why I had quit playing it. It's a great game mechanically. It's great, but it for me it got repetitive. It's like, I really like the Nemesis system in it, but it got old for me real fast. Maybe I didn't stick with it long enough. But it was a great game. I don't regret playing it, but it did wear out for me fairly quickly.
Right. All right, so for our second segment here, we're going to talk about the news of the week relating to this game. But first off, since this is the first podcast, we want everyone to know exactly what we're talking about. We know it's The Division, but say you're new to this podcast and you're saying, what is The Division exactly? So we're going to read off a quick Division frequently asked document, compliments of Joker Unique from the Reddit the Division subreddit. He compiled this. Basically, you go in there and you can find anything you need to know about The Division. And so I'm going to read this off real quick. And then we're going to talk about exactly what this show is going to consist of. So first off, The Division is a next-gen experience in a persistent and dynamic open-world environment that is built from the ground up for co-op, where exploration and player progression are essential. Teaming up with other Division agents, your mission is to restore order, investigate the source of the virus, and take back New York. Tragedy has come to New York. It's hard to see something you love destroy itself and fall apart, but someone needs to be here to pick it up, to push back. Your purpose lies amongst all of this pain. You will have to fight, to save, to put back together. You are the hope of New York City. I kind of messed that up, but whatever. We'll just roll with it. Witness the beginning of the devastating outbreak that brought New York to ruin. Things look bleak, but we haven't lost yet. There's time to protect those that remain and bring order to a destroyed world. And basically what it is, there's a virus that was propagated through the handling of currency, which is your money, your coins, whatever, on Black Friday. So it causes everyone to get sick. Does not turn them into zombies. There are no zombies in this game. People keep asking, is this a zombie game? No, it's not a zombie game. People are sick. People, it's not even the Last of Us type zombies. They're just sick. And now whether it causes people to go a little bit insane, I don't know. I would be surprised. I doubt that.
Yeah, they haven't described exactly what it does to people yet, have they?
No, not really. So the only thing I can imagine is they get sick and die. So.
Right.
Yeah. And so with that being said, we are going to be a conversational podcast that is dedicated to Tom Clancy's The Division. And here we'll be talking about the game. We'll be discussing things within the game, the gear, the story. I mean, we'll just talk about the game in general and things that are going on with the game. Like, say there's a community event going on that Dave, wants to talk about. Then, Dave's going to take over and he's going to tell us all about what this community event is going, what's going on with it. Say we get cool loot drops or whatever, and we're going to talk about that. You just, so on and so forth, you get the idea. This is going to be where you want to be for the Division news. Anything going on with that, And when the game comes out, we're going to have, walkthroughs, tips, tricks. We're going to be playing this game a lot, so we're going to know what's going on with it. And then you'll be able to come here and listen and get our input from it. Right, guys?
Yes.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Yep.
Anything to add to it?
I would add this real quick, because if you know nothing about the Division, like I did, the E3, all you see is you hear, okay, it's a Tom Clancy game. There's there's special forces-esque, kind of a warfare thing going on, right?
Right.
So that's all you know. That's all a lot of people know going into it. So I start looking at it and I keep questioning, why is it that way? Why do they do this that way? It doesn't make sense, because in my head I'm thinking a third-person shooter. Mm-hmm. The first thing and foremost you have to keep reminding yourself is it's an RPG. It's an RPG. So anytime in your head you're like, well, why do they do that? It's an RPG. Well,
right.
Why is there a time to kill? It's an RPG. And that's what just kept cycling through my head, because every time I'm watching a new video and learning about it, and there is a lot of information out there that's actually nothing, probably a very minute portion of the game, but this community dives into it so much detail that it seems overwhelming.
They pick it apart, man.
Oh man, there's some of those guys are just, it's awesome. It's really exciting, but I think that's the biggest thing to get your head around. If you know nothing else, start off with that, and there's going to PvP aspects, PvE aspects, all those crafting, all those types of things will be a part of it. But just remember that when you're starting to learn about the game, and I think that you'll get a lot clearer understanding and get about what it is.
You'll be able to accept it more.
Exactly.
Because that was the thing. Like when I played it at E3, and I talked to people about it afterwards. They were like, "Yeah, the time to kill was a little long on it."
Yeah.
And I was like, "I get that. I understand, but it's not." And I think people are conflicted because they're saying it's a Tom Clancy game, and it's they're focused on realism, but then the time to kill takes a whole clip. Which, that's a valid argument. I understand that. But if you look at it and they say this is an RPG first, you kind of have to be like, all right, well, at what point does it become a video game? Do we want it to be totally realistic? Because if it was totally realistic, let's be honest, you shoot someone in the leg and they're not moving. So I think you have to kind of determine where you want your realistic factor and your fun factor to come in. So that's a very, very good point you made. Like, it is an RPG. When you go in and look at it, if you look at any other RPG, you can't kill someone in one hit typically, unless it's like a really powerful weapon. And that's just how it's going to be. And there's nothing wrong with that either.
No.
And it's almost going to be MOBA-esque when you think about it. There's going to be like people going in and attacking at the same time. Everyone's going to have a different kind of rule. There's going to be different ways to do it. So it'll be interesting to see how the actual combat plays out.
Right. Is it going to be more of like an MMORPG? More geared, more kind of like a WoW type thing than say a Dragon Age or something. Right.
I would say so. I mean, it's more focused on gear and progression and playing together with a team. So.
Right. Okay.
I haven't played WoW, so I can't really say.
Yeah, I never have either. It seems like it's going to have. It seems like there's a little bit of a separation in RPG types, where the Dragon Age style, where you're just the one player, you have a bunch of NPCs around you, but with an MMO, the world and everything you do feels a little more full because there's other people in it. If I'm explaining that correct, or but
to go on, to kind of expound on that a little bit. In the Division, you have basically 3 zones that you're going to be spending your time in. Your first zone is your world that you go and explore, your open world. It is yours. It's not an MMO. It's an RPG, and so you go in and you explore it. It's basically, if it was just you, imagine that it's like Assassin's Creed. You're in that world, and it's you alone. Now, 3 other people can join you in that world, and then whatever you do within that world, say you go and unlock a base, well, it's unlocked for those 3 people that are playing with you as long as they're with you. So when they go back into their world, that base is unlocked for them too. So it's not like a total waste if you like go join another player, because then you're constantly progressing your city as well. So that's kind of that situation. All right, the second zone is the dark zone, which they've talked about a lot. That's the PvP area. You jump in. There's other players within that world. We don't know the max player count. We know it's going to be more than 9 people. That's it. It is a PvP/PvE area, so there's AI enemies in there. There's really good loot in there, and you can join in there with 4 people. Go in there, you grab it. We'll talk a little bit more about dark zones in detail later on. And then there's green zones, or the social zone. I mean, they've been there's different names, kind of like the green zone, social zone. If you play Destiny, imagine the tower. That's exactly what it's going to be. You can go in there, you can talk to other people, you can squad up with other people, you can even trade with other people. There's going to be trading in this game. So you say you have, this gun and you don't want it, and the other guy has another gun. You go up to him and you talk to him, say, hey, trade, and then you can trade the weapons. They haven't gone into detail on anything with that, so we don't know exactly how that's going to work. But that's one thing I'm really excited about. I'm sure you guys are pretty excited about trading too, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm indifferent, really, because it's my stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of it, I want to keep my exotics. I want to keep, even if I don't, things change so much. Maybe I don't use this weapon that much, and then all of a sudden there's an update, and that weapon is the one to have. Right. I don't know. I'm kind of stingy with it. Yeah, do I want what they have? But sometimes I just want to earn it. You know, so I could go either way. But materials,
I think they have to
give me your materials, and I'll give you these materials. That's for sure. But I think it'll go both ways. Now, I think 70% of the Destiny community that listen to this is just their mind's going to be blown right now, and they're already invested in this game, knowing they can trade. Yeah. So it's definitely, I think you go in that MMO/RPG style that fits right into it. So it makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so that's what the Division is. That's what our podcast is going to be about. We just wanted to explain to everybody what's going on. Next episode, we'll actually have some news to go over. Hopefully, depending on what's going on. There hasn't been a flood of news coming out on this game, but yeah. So we'll have a news segment, and then for our next topic, it's going to be the topic of the week. We're going to talk a little bit about the Division Survival Guide, which is also known as the companion book. They recently announced this officially. Everyone's known about it for a while. So it's basically a book. I'll just read the description off of the website. Or actually, the Amazon has a little bit better of a description, because the one off the website is kind of like a selling point, which, I guess it is same on Amazon too, but basically it's a book from a perspective of a survivor in New York, and the book is like an end of world type of survival book, and she's reading through it, and then she like scribbles in little things to it. I have a little excerpt from it that Ubisoft Massive sent me, and it's really cool. It's like a couple pages, and the actual book just tells you how to survive in certain scenarios, and then she scribbles inside of it and gives you like little insight to what's going on in her world. But the cool thing about this book, the thing that I'm excited about, and the reason I pre-ordered it, is because it's going to have actual tie-ins with the game. So it's not just completely separate. You read this book, you're going to get something out of the game, whether it's, I don't know. What do you guys think it's going to be? I don't really have an idea. What would you want? Like if you read this book and you said you knew there was something in it, what would you hope to find in it?
For myself, I guess, I know there's gonna be a lot of lore, right? So there's gonna be a lot of backstory. Is that my understanding too? Because she's scribbling notes in this. Pretty much, she's reading a book about what happened. Is that right? Like how it got to that point, and then she's writing in notes about tips. Yes, this happened. Yes, you're reading a book, but be aware of this. Be aware of this faction and these guys. Maybe these are some weak points of this area. But I think really at the end of that description, what I would like the most of it, to me, it'd be almost, the book would be like a piece of the puzzle. Like I have information and tips and tricks that if you don't have this book, you don't know what it is. Now, it doesn't. Any more games, if you buy the game, there's no like big instruction manual with all this other stuff. You download it. To me, this is like an instruction manual that's got all the cool stuff in it that you always want and you always look forward to when you open a game when you're a kid. You want to see how big the instructions were, right? So this will be with maps and all these different types of things that you can actually use in the game. And that's kind of what my head thinks is more of a lore-based not instruction manual, but a really cool way to be an instruction manual and a guide for yourself being immersed into this. So I think it's hopefully going to get you invested into it. That's what my hopes would be. So
I think you're exactly right. I mean, it's going to be about lore. I'll just quickly read the description from Amazon because I think it kind of sums it up best. New York. This is the description from Amazon. New York collapse is an in-world fictionalized companion to one of the biggest video game releases of 2016, Tom Clancy's The Division from Ubisoft. Within this discarded survivalist field guide, written before the collapse, lies a mystery, a handwritten account of a woman struggling to discover why New York City fell. I can't talk tonight. The keys to unlocking the survivor's full story are hidden within 7 removable artifacts, ranging from a full city map to a used transit card. Retrace her steps through a destroyed urban landscape and decipher her clues to reveal the key secrets at the heart of this highly anticipated game. That right there, that just gave me chills reading that. Yeah. That is so freaking cool.
Yep.
My mind just exploded with ideas. Like you could actually think about it. Like you could, with those things, you could actually track down this girl in the game, and maybe like with a huge side quest, and you could track down like where she's been. And I bet if you went into like areas she's talking about, you could see where she was living there.
Right.
I would not be surprised. That would be so cool. And I talked to one of the developers, and he said that there are links within this game because when I was wondering, is like, is this book, why should I buy it, basically, other than it just other than it being related to the Division? Like, is it going to have things that if I read this game, I can go in the game and be like, oh, this is here, this is there, and the fact that there are, that is so cool. I can't wait to see within the maps, like what you were saying with the factions and things. You probably will be able to tell where factions are because she's, if she's wandering through the city, she's going to know where things are. She's going to know where people are, where they like to hide out, and things like that. That would be pretty legit.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah. I hope it's more than lore. I'll say that. I want something else to invest me. I'm just not. It would be more of an investment for me if it was more than that. Some things I could see and do in the game, which itself in the world. So
like possible crafting recipes or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That one might be a good thing too, because on the official The Division website, it talks about like it's an actual survival guide book. So like if you buy it, it supposedly will actually help you figure out what to do. It says, let's see. It tells you everything you need to know to fulfill your basic needs of finding safe shelter, water, food, and to more unexpected and potentially life-saving tricks like catching small game in Central Park or stitching yourself up with super glue and more. Which items should you secure before stores get emptied? Should you survive on your own, or should you seek jam-packed refugee shelters? Is fire really the best way to dispose of bodies? Is it a good idea to escape the city through a river on an inflatable mattress? Things like that. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that, like, if you buy this game, it's not just about a video game. It's going to have, it's going to have other inputs into your life, too. Especially if you live in a city like that. It would be really good to know. Because if the world really went south, New York would be one of the last places I would ever want to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Any highly populated area or military bases, you don't want to be around them.
Yeah.
And I was getting ready to say, I think this, for the first episode, and nobody knows anything about the Division, go look at this first. I think this is a good way, before you start looking at videos on YouTube, I mean, right now you're looking at, kind of everything's happened and it's done, and now you read this book and this is your first experience. I think you're going to start to see what the whole game is going to be about, what the whole world is going to be about, and it's going to kind of set you in it so you'd be prepared for all these things that you're going to be able to do and see in it. So I think it's a good topic for the first one, and for people to read a little bit more about it on the Amazon and stuff, it's going to be pretty interesting. So it's going to be timed with the game release, right? Is that what I understand?
I think so. I was just thinking about that. I don't know when the actual release date of it is. If one of you guys want to pull it up real quick, we can throw that in there.
Well, I think it was.
It says March 1st on Amazon.
March 1st? Oh, dude, that'd be awesome. That's 7 days before the actual game comes out, so that would give you time to read through it.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool. I was hoping that it would be before it, so... Oh, dude, that'd be awesome. Yeah, any more thoughts on this? Do you guys think this is a good idea? Because I know a lot of people, they're like... I was reading on Reddit, they're like, oh man, just another thing I have to buy to get out of this video game. I was like, no one's twisting your arm. I mean, I think people were more disappointed that this was the big announcement that they were talking about. And so they just wanted to lash out a little bit.
If it's something that legitimately adds to the game, if it's going to enhance your experience, I don't mind spending money on it. I mean, how many T-shirts or stickers or posters or stuff have I bought for games? How many Bungie or Destiny shirts do I own? Those don't add to my gaming experience.
Right. I'm holding my little Destiny Ghost I got in the Ghost edition of Destiny. Yeah, all this thing does is sit on my desk. I don't do anything with it. But I spent $150, or was it 150? Was it 100? I think it was $150 for this little ghost and some other pieces of paper.
Peter Dinklage paperweight.
Yeah, right. Peter Dinklage paperweight. Hey, he's not in the game anymore, so this thing might actually be worth something. So we'll have to wait and see.
Well, it's got a little USB thing on it, so you'll be able to probably reprogram it, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I might not want to.
But something that enhances the experience. That is something. I mean, I can't think of another game that's done that. Where there's another. Okay, there's books, there's strategy guides, there's all that stuff, but something that actually puts you more into that world. I can't think of anybody else that's done that.
Yeah. I can't really either. I mean, honestly, I'm sure there are some out there, maybe. Yeah. But I can't think of any right off the bat. So this would definitely be a first for me, at least.
Yeah. I think it's actually a cooler idea. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a companion app for your phone, but this, something that you can actually hold and it has removable things in it and it's physical and you can hold it. Like, I think this is probably cooler than a companion app.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Too bad they took the actual companion app out of the game.
Oh, seriously?
That's for a whole nother podcast.
Yeah. Wow. We can go a couple of ways around that.
Yeah. All right. So we'll wrap that up with the topic of the week. The next segment that we're going to have, we don't have it this week because we're running short on time, but we want to let everyone know that we are going to do gun reviews. There have been a few guns that have been announced. We're going to do one, try to do one every time we have a show and talk a little bit about the supposed uses of the gun in the game and talk a little bit about the history of the gun in real life because this is a Tom Clancy game. So all the guns that you'll find in the game are actual real guns. And since Justin, BlessedDoom, is our local gun expert, he's ex-military. So a lot of these guns he's actually used.
Yeah, there's quite a few of these. Even the ones that have been seen in games so far, I have actually used in real life. I have actually fired a lot of these at people. I have, I'm not a full on right. I'm not a full on gun expert. I can't rattle off, muzzle velocities for every single gun that's ever existed.
Well, let's be honest, I don't think people would really care.
Right. Now,
they're listening for video games, not gun. Like, this bullet is this many grams, and it will fire at this velocity.
Right. But what I do, I do have real-world experience. I'm not an ex-Special Forces guy. I'm just a regular Army guy. I did a year in Iraq back in 03 and 04, and I've used a lot of these guns. And it seems like they're making these a lot more realistic. They're making them handle more realistically. And I'm excited about that. And I'm excited to talk about what that could possibly mean for tactics and usage in the game.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they have a whole team dedicated to how these guns work and how these guns function. Red Storm, who made a lot of the Ghost Recon games.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see what Red Storm does. I've listened to a couple of podcasts with them on it, and them talking about the detail they go into, and it's very exciting.
Yeah, they know what they're doing, so you're going to be. I would say you're going to be right about guns handling realistically. I mean, at least the guns that I use in the game, it was very. What I would assume would be realistic, because I used an M14 marksman rifle, and every shot you took, you had to wait, like a second or two before you could pull the trigger again, because you can't just rattle off shots like crazy, or your reticle was spreading, a half a mile wide, and your shots weren't going to land anywhere.
Right.
And that gun's job was to land headshots. You could kill people in 4 to 5 headshots, and if you weren't, then you were missing shots, reloading, and you weren't near as effective. So I can see the tactics. It's going to play out pretty cool, if you ask me.
I think some of the biggest things people are going to be talking about is the full auto guns or the belt fed machine guns. How unlike, we keep talking about Destiny, but obviously that's one of the only things we have to compare to right now.
Right.
Machine guns in there, you can just fire them and they just stay dead on, like you could drive a nail with them. Well, and full auto fire, empty a whole 100-round belt like it's nothing with no consequences. That's not how it works in the real world. If you try to do that, you're going to end up aiming straight up in the air, and your barrel's going to be warped. So I'm excited to see the comments that people make whenever they try to go and just full auto fire and end up getting one-shotted in the head by a handgun.
Yeah.
So
it'll be cool to see if that actually works with like you see in one of the videos, he gets an M60. That's a big gun.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to be running around with that thing sprinting like crazy and then just sit there and unload a whole clip into somebody accurately.
Well, even an M60 or the M240 that replaced it, I don't know if they'll have a 240 in there because the M60 just has name recognition. But
yeah.
You don't really fire those standing up usually.
Yeah.
Usually you fire those from a bipod.
I hate to disagree, guys, but everything I know about M60s comes from Rambo or the Predator, and I've seen it happen.
You can
definitely
fire 2 of those
in 2 videos, in 2 movies. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone have both done that. So,
well, if I had arms like they do, then they did.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
and I get all my factual information from movies.
Yeah, because you're not allowed to lie in a movie. Everything is,
that's right. It's true.
Fact.
Just like the internet, everything is true.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's another segment that I know we're all excited about, and that people should get excited about. 'Cause I'm excited to go into the actual history of these guns, because it's almost educational. You're going to learn a little bit about this gun in the game. It's going to help you, and then you're going to learn a little bit about where this gun has come from, and what wars that it's participated in, things like that. So that's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be a learning experience for me too, because I don't really know a whole lot about any of these guns. A lot of these guns are new. A lot of these guns are old. So. Like an M60, that's a really old gun.
That's a very old gun, to the point where it's for the most part been replaced. I mean,
really,
certain branches still used it, or still use it. I think probably Air Force still has it, and maybe some parts of the Marines, but for the most part, whenever I was in, it had been in the Army. It had been completely replaced by the 240 Bravo, which is a little bit bigger. It fires the same round, but it's a little bit bigger, a little more reliable.
Yeah,
and you don't see a lot of those in games, just because M60, it's like, oh, M60, it's just everybody knows it. So
right,
I'm hoping, and I assume they probably will have more. I mean, obviously they're going to have more current guns in it, but they just wanted to show the M60 on there. Everybody, I guess that was a big question leading up to it. Everybody was asking whether or not the M60 was going to be in it.
Mm-hmm.
There's other guns I'm a little more excited about, seeing, hopefully that they will have in there. I'm looking for a 6.8 assault rifle.
Yeah,
that's I'm hoping for different round sizes that would lead to different damage types.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that's I'm hoping for that level of detail.
Yeah. Well, that's something we can talk about. Hopes and dreams for guns that we can see in there, and maybe the guys over there, Massive, will listen to us and they'll put them in. Who knows? So that'll be our gun review segment, and then after that, we're going to have listener mail. Now this week we don't have any listener mail because we're brand new, just announced. But we want to let everybody know that you will be able to send in your questions to be answered on the show. You can either email us at rogueagentradio@gmail.com, but you can also send in recorded questions to Skype, which is also Rogue Agent Radio, and also speakpipe.com/Rogue Agent Radio. And you can hear your question on the show, and then we'll answer whatever you guys want to know about the game, and that'll be that. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see what people want to know about the game, because that'll lead into whole other topics as well. And if our topic of the week goes over a question that someone sends in, someone gets lucky, then we'll answer one there too, and just and roll with that. So yeah, there's that. I think that's probably going to do it for this show. Thank you everybody for listening in. Really appreciate it. We're really excited for this show. A lot of good things coming. Really excited about this. So just remember to follow our Twitter page at Rogue Agent Radio. You'll stay up to date on the show times, breaking news for the division, anything related to that. And we're also putting the finishing touches up on our website. You'll see an announcement for that next week, so be sure to keep an eye on our Twitter for that. Be sure to follow all of the Rogue Agents. Dave is DeepFriedDave. Justin is BlessedDoom with an underscore at the end. And then mine is Boomslangg with 2 G's and an underscore at the end. Thank you, Dave.
Hey, thanks. I'm really looking forward to this podcast. I'm excited about the game and the community and the team here. And I think we're going to be bringing a fresh perspective to both novice, the division agents, and also the ones that have been in this community for so long. So I think we got a lot of great things going, and I'm looking forward to what we're going to be putting out for our listeners.
Definitely. And thank you, Doom.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for letting me be involved in this. I'm very excited about what we're going to do, and I'm excited about being involved in the division community. I think it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, no problem. I'm super stoked. This is going to be awesome. Hopefully we'll have some guests on the show eventually, some really cool people that are going to talk about the division, guys who are really big fans. And maybe we'll get some listeners on the show too eventually, whenever we get some listeners. But yeah, if you stuck around for this long, I want to thank you again, everybody, for listening. Until next time, maintain radio silence and watch your corners, agents.
Rogue protocol initiated.